Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. As you can see, the colourful lights are still ablaze here at Circular Quay. We're still in the midst of the Vivid Light Festival, and I think it goes on for a few more days, on to the 18th of June. I've just seen over here, 18th of June. So if you get an opportunity, head on down here to Sydney town and be dazzled by these wonderful lights and this light show. It is spectacular, and it is something that is going to be, I guess, an institution going forward here in Sydney. It's here to stay, no doubt. And with the changes of technology, with the improvements, with the introduction of drones, dare I say that the light shows such as Vivid will overtake at some point in time the fireworks displays and all of those yesteryear technologies. Anyway, I'm in the city today. It's Saturday. I'm working here at Lend-Lease at Circular Quay Towers. So I'll kick off and deliver another 5am club just before work. I'll need to cut it fairly short today because I need to start at 6:30, and I'm just probably about 500 metres away, so hence why I've kicked off already. So what we're going to be doing today is a book summary entitled Elite Minds. Elite Minds, and it's by an author known as, let me grab my notes, an author named Stan Beecham. And it was a book that was published in September 2016. So it's been around for a little while, but no doubt there's a lot of nice and useful information that's going to come from it. And we'll just tap through it and see if we can identify 2 or 3 key points, 2 or 3 key learnings, and use that to springboard our discussion off. So the author kicks off the book with an observation where he says, and quite rightly so, that we need to incrementally get through life and do the things that we can do. So he said that you must first do what is necessary, which is sound advice. Do what you need to get through life first. Now we've got to step through it in a logical and a rational way. So do first what is necessary, then do what is possible, and then you'll find yourself doing the impossible. So I think a lot of people end up getting ahead of themselves, is what the author is trying to suggest here. A lot of people try and do the impossible first, and then end up failing and end up giving up hope. But the author here says that we need to strategically and maturely step through things one step at a time, and do it in a methodical way. There's a bit of noise over here, so what I might do is just continue walking and talking, just to show you a bit of the colour that we have. We're cleaning out the toilets, as you can probably hear and see, but I won't hang around here for too long. But once again, down here at Circular Quay, there's a lot of spectacular colour in the theme of Vivid Sydney. So take a chance, make a point to come on down few more days to go, but you'll be kicking yourself if you miss it, is I guess the advice that I'm suggesting. So we're down here now at the International Passenger Terminal. It's overcast, so we're not seeing the crimson hues behind the Opera House as we normally see. So I'll just stop around here somewhere and continue the vlog. The ferries haven't started their morning parade as yet. Given that it's Saturday, I think they've got a different schedule to what they have during the week. But I'm here at the cruise bar, and I'm sure that there'll be some ships coming in at some point throughout the weeks leading up to springtime. So what more can we take from this author? He says that it's undeniable. It's an undeniable fact that the brain controls the body. So therefore our mind controls all of our bodily functions and all that our body does, including all the good things and all the bad things. So suggesting here that the brain is in control of the body and can control all the things that we do is in itself quite profound to many people. So this book is all about what do we do to leverage the brain, because by leveraging the brain we leverage everything else that comes from that leverage, including all the things our bodies do and all our actions that we take. I guess this is a little bit debatable as well, because there are some authors that say that, whilst the brain controls the body also controls the brain in many ways. Our emotions, how we feel, will control how we perform and what we end up doing. So I guess it's a fine line between the brain controlling the body and the emotions controlling the brain and the body. So I think we need to be cognizant that there are a few things at play and no one thing is in total control at all times. So the author goes on to talk about the first key point that comes from this book, and he says that achieving your potential may be delayed by your mistaken identity. So what's this all about? What does he mean by a mistaken identity? What he's saying here is that nobody has ever met their best self yet, because nobody's ever been to the future. And we are all work in progress at the end of the day. We're all growing and developing at different stages along the path of our identity, and in terms of who we want to be and who we want to ultimately be known as. But what the author here is saying is that nobody has actually met their best self. So we're basically living with a mistaken identity, because it's only when you put yourself through challenge, it's only when you go through and push yourself as if you've got a gun to your head, that you actually realise what you're capable of and who you really are as a person. My spiritual father always tells me that, getting married, staying married, having children, raising children is a very spiritual and I guess a great test in terms of who we are as a person, because they are the reflectors, they are the mirrors that show us who we are as people, and they test us. Our children, our partners, our parents, our friends, everybody around us are there to mirror who we actually are and who we've become. and are a test to keep us in sync and to allow us to grow and develop and to become better people, in fact, ourselves. So as I said, my spiritual father says that marriage, parenting, all of those things are salvific. They're all things that are going to help us get on the path of salvation, because what they're going to teach us is God's love, being able to love one another as we love ourselves, and being in a position where we're disappointed from time to time, and yet we continue to love and to cherish those around us, to express our unconditional love, which is God's love, remembering that we're all unworthy. We're always letting God down, we're letting each other down, but we need to continue to do what we're doing, to once again to express, to live God's love as best we can. So we're living with a mistaken identity, according to the author, because we haven't quite realised who we are and what we're capable of. And in many ways, sometimes cancers, diseases, suffering that we receive in our lives is brought to us to help us realise how strong we actually are and how capable we are of battling through those significant challenges. So not living our lives to its highest potential is a great waste of talent. And hence why in athletics, we have Olympians, we have an athletic competition, and the objective of that competition is to bring out the best in each athlete. It's not there just to show who is the best, but competition is there to bring out the best in each athlete, so that we all benefit through athleticism, through competition. We all gain to a certain extent, because we get to find another step, another level, another capability, another disappointment that we need to try and get over. All of these things are part of the overall game, I guess, of competing, of living, and of trying to solve as many problems as we can. Because at the end of the day, each and every one of us have a mission to fulfill, a calling to answer, and talents to exploit. And we rarely understand the power of our minds and our capabilities until we're put through the fire. We're put through the blast furnace, where we're really tested to all our abilities. So once we get our minds over our bodies, according to this author, once you can get your mind to control your body and to control your actions, then you're in a better position to achieve your destiny and to realise your destiny, because you're working with a purpose. The author goes on to say that challenging times are a part of the road to success for each and every one of us. We're all different. We're all unique. None of us have had the same past. None of us are going to experience the same present. I am here, you are there, you are somewhere else. You're having a different experience at the moment, which is going to shape your worldview. It's going to be a slither that you're going to add to your library of slithers of reality. And it's going to be the framework. It's going to be the lens in which you judge and see the future. And none of us are going to have the same future. We're all going to have a different future. and hence we need to live our lives. We need to let our children live their lives as best they be, because each and every one of us has a different future. We're all different from each other. We're all uniquely different from each other. And the reason why we're different from each other profoundly is that we're different for each other. If we're all the same, if God made everybody the same, if he made every building the same, if he made every tree the same, or every boat, or every whatever, if he made everything exactly the same as each other, life would be so much boring. Whereas he's made us all different from each other, for each other, to be able to complement, to be able to supplement the strengths or weaknesses that we all have in order to become better, combined to what we are individually. So the author here also raises a very important point in terms of perfection, the curse of perfection, because perfection is a distraction for many people. Perfectionism is something which is really, really difficult to deal with. And it leads to anxiety and a sense of worthlessness. But we need to understand that difficulty is a rule of life. Making mistakes, not being perfect, is more realistic than being perfect. We need to all deal with our unique station in life. We need to all deal with our problems. And this is really, really important. I never quite thought of this before, but the author has given us a new perspective. And he says that, and this is one for John Geekus. John Geekus, if you're listening to this vlog, this is an important one, given that you're an elite athlete, as well as your brother, George Geekus. Something to contemplate, something to think about. This is really profound, really powerful. That even the best athletes, even the greatest athletes, doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter what sporting discipline it is, even the best athletes, listening to this, Johnny, even the best athletes have between 3 and 6 bad days a month. So every time an athlete lines up to run the race of their lives, you've got to understand that some of those athletes are going to have a bad day, and some of those athletes are going to have a great day. You just don't know on the day whether or not it's going to be one of those 3 to 6 bad days a month that they're facing, or one of the other 24 good days. So you just don't know. So whenever you're lining up for a race, just imagine, just think that your opponent, that great opponent of yours, that person who seems to be unbeatable, may be going to have one of his bad or one of her bad days. So we need to free ourselves from the curse of perfection, and to know that having bad days is just a normal way, a normal day, a normal part of living, and to learn to leverage it and to live with it without suffering because of it. So the last points to come from this book is that greatness arrives in your life when you have been able to slay fear. When you're able to kill off fear is the time when greatness will come into your life, because a lot of us are limited by our fears, our uncertainties, and our doubts, and these are all a figment of our imagination. You need to understand that fear, uncertainty, and doubt is not real. For most people, the fears that they face, the fears that they have which are limiting them, over 95% of them will not materialize. In fact, the vast majority will not materialize. But we need to understand it and to put it into perspective. And Aristotle, the great Greek philosopher, over 2,000 years ago, said that those who can conquer their fear win in life. We need to learn to love discomfort, to embrace fears, and to understand and to know that God's wonderful gifts are tightly wrapped in problems, are wrapped in suffering, pain, and discomfort. And once you realize that, then you become very, very welcoming of the fears that held you back once upon a time, knowing very well that those problems, that suffering, that discomfort, that uncomfortable feeling that you have is actually a gift from God, and it's up to you to unwrap it one problem at a time, one suffrage at a time, one sense of discomfort at a time. And once you've been able to unwrap it, then you're in a position to achieve a thing called eudaimonia, which Aristotle talked about and the ancient Greeks talked about, which is a pure happiness and joy, which is sourced by achievement and self-fulfillment. So there we go. Thank you very much once again for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's about time I hightailed it back so I can get off to work on this beautiful Sydney winter's morning. As I said, we're in the midst, we're at the tail end of the Vivid Festival, and this is just an example of some of the eateries. An example of some of the eateries that have been set up down here with tremendous colour, adding to the atmosphere of this wonderful event. So come on down. It's not too late to decide. It's going to be an overcast day today. I don't know how it's going to pan out, but if it's not raining, then tonight might be the night for you to come down here with the rest of the thousands and thousands of Sydney-siders who have decided to make it their vivid Saturday night. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed today's vlog as much as I did. It never ceases to amaze me at how many wonderful books there are, how much wonderful OPE, other people's experience, we can tap into and learn from. How many slithers of other people's reality we can add to our reality to enable us to enhance, to colour, to shade, to improve our view of life so that we are in a position to incorporate it into our daily lives and leverage it and make the most of it. So take care, have a wonderful rest of the Saturday, enjoy this wonderful winter's weekend, and as you can see, the first light is starting to show, and we'll chat again from a different place with a different message of empowerment. Yassas, and bye for now.